Hi everyone. So we are now going to continue with pre-sorting. In the previous tutorial, we had discussed how pre-sorting can be applied to find out whether elements in an array are unique or not. Okay. The next example that we illustrate for pre-sorting is computing a mode. So mode is a statistical term. It's a value that occurs most often in a given list of numbers. Okay, maybe in your elementary maths when you studied statistics, you might have studied this. So given a set of numbers, the most frequently occurring number is called as the mode. For example, here let's say we have a set of 7 as shown here 5 1 5 7 6 5 7. Then you can clearly see that the most frequently occurring term is 5 because it appears 3 times more than any other element in the array, and that's why the mode here is 5. So now the question is, given a set of such elements, how do you find out the mode? Okay, one way, the straightforward approach or the brute force approach, is we have to scan through this entire list, compute the frequency of each distinct element, and then find the value with the largest frequency. So what I have to do is I have to scan through the array and count how many times 5 has occurred, okay, which we call it the frequency, how many times 1 has occurred, how many times 7 has occurred, how many times 6 has occurred, and then after I have found out the count or the frequency for each distinct element, I have to choose that element for which the frequency is highest. Okay, let's continue with the previous discussion. Next, what we do here is, so if I want to write a brute force algorithm, we can store the values that are already encountered along with their frequencies in a separate list. Okay, we create a separate new list. On each iteration, the ith element of the original list is compared with the values already that are there in this secondary list or the auxiliary list. If the values are found in this auxiliary list, we increase its frequency by 1. Okay, we increment it. Otherwise, if it is not found in this auxiliary list, we add this current element and set its frequency to be 1. Okay, and we repeat this procedure for every other element in the list. So let me give you this same example. If we were to apply this brute force approach, let's consider this array. Okay, as you can see here, it has 7 elements: 5 1 5 7 6 5 and 7. So now for this, we create an auxiliary list. Okay, can you see this list below? Let's call this the frequency list. So this frequency list, each entry here has two values. The first one represents the element, and second one represents the frequency, which tells how many times this element has occurred. Okay, so now if we start the computation, so the first element is 5, and here this 5 has need not be compared with any element in the list because list is empty. I directly write the element 5 into the frequency list, and we initialize the frequency to be 1. Next, what I have to do is, I take the next element 1, okay, and I check whether 1 is present in the frequency list. Okay, so when we are checking for the element, we should check only in the first column, in the element column, not in the frequency. So if we look at the current contents of frequency list, there is no element by value 1. So this is a new element. What we need to do, like how we told earlier, this should be added as a new entry into the frequency list with a frequency value 1. Next, we come to the third element, and now when I check, 5 is already present in the frequency list. So this is not a new element, but rather an element that has been occurring earlier itself. We have just now found out another occurrence. So what we need to do now is we need to increase the frequency by 1. Okay, so which is what has been done now. Okay, next we have the element 7. We have to scan through the frequency list. Okay, first element is not 7, second element is not 7. Okay, there are no more elements in the frequency list. So add 7 as 7 to the frequency list, set its frequency to 1. Okay, so this is what is being done. Similarly, for 6 again, because it is not in the frequency list, a new entry has been created at the end with the element 6 and frequency 1. Next, we encounter 5. Okay, 5 is already present in the frequency list, so its frequency is updated to the value 3. Okay, and next 7. Okay, 7 is now updated to the value 2. Now if we look at and now we don't have any other values. Okay, we have exhausted the input array. We have the final frequency list, and we have to choose that element whose frequency is the largest. Okay, so going that way, we find that the element 5 has the highest frequency, which is 3. So which is the mode here? The mode for the given input array is 5, because it appears most number of times in the array than any other element. Okay, so this is the brute force solution for finding the mode of an array. So if we look at the analysis part, let's consider the worst case. Okay, what forms the worst case input? So in this case, the worst case happens when the list has no duplicate elements or no equal elements. So all the elements are distinct. In such a case, before we can add an element to the list, every element, or let's say every ith element, has to be compared with all the previous I minus 1 elements in the auxiliary list of distinct values, and only then you can say that okay, this element is not previously existing, that's why I am adding it to the list and setting the frequency to 1. So before an ith element has to be inserted, the number of comparisons that you need to make is I minus 1. Okay, so if we do this computation for all the elements, then it becomes a summation. Okay, summation of I in the range 1 to n of summation of I minus 1. Okay, why have we written I minus 1? For the ith element we require I minus 1 comparisons. So going that way, for the first element we required 0 comparisons because the auxiliary list was empty, there is nothing to compare. For the second element we would require 1 comparison because the first element would have been written to the auxiliary list, we need to compare it with it, and only then we can add it to the frequency list. Similarly, the third element would require 2 comparisons and so on. And the last element, nth element, should have been compared with its previous n minus 1 elements, only then you can add this element to the list. Okay, so which requires n minus 1 comparisons. So this is nothing but summation of 1 to n minus 1, which turns out to be n minus 1 into n whole divided by 2. And if you see this, if we solve this, we can easily find out that the order of growth is quadratic. It belongs to theta of n square. Okay, so this is the efficiency analysis for the brute force approach to find out the mode of an array. Okay, or a list of elements. How can pre-sorting help here? Okay, so again here, what we do is, okay, in the transform and conquer approach, in the transform phase, okay, we perform the sorting on the input, instant simplification. So when I sort the input, all equal values will be adjacent to each other. Okay, so now the computation is, okay, if we want to find out the mode, all we need to do is find out the longest run of adjacent equal values in the sorted array. Okay, so in a sorted array you will see that if because there are duplicate elements, you will see that there could be several adjacent elements that could be equal, and I want to find out a sequence or a longest run of such adjacent values that are the same, and the element which is having such a longest run happens to be the mode. Okay, so this is the idea of pre-sorting. Let's look into the algorithm here. So this algorithm again takes an array A of orderable elements and determines the mode of the array. So the first part in the algorithm is to sort the array, okay, the transform phase. After that, we initialize an index I to 0, okay. So where our current run is going to begin, okay. So run, we are trying to identify runs of successive elements which are identical to one another, okay. So and because we haven't started with our computations, we set the mode frequency also to 0. Now what we do is, as long as I is less than n, okay, I less than or equal to n minus 1 can also be read as I less than n, we initialize the run length to 1 and run value to a of I. Okay, so in our case, or when the algorithm starts, okay, the run length is set to 1 and the run value, okay, the value that we are trying to find out if it is repeated or not, happens to be the first value, a of I or a of 0. Next, we have a nested while loop, okay. As long as we have not reached the end of the array, okay. So for that we have the condition, if I plus run length is less than n or less than or equal to n minus 1, okay, as long as this condition is true, we have not reached the end of the array. So then in that case we have to perform a repeated operation, but it should also satisfy another condition. If a of I plus run length is equal to run value, okay, we have already initialized run value with a of I, and if the elements after it are also the same, okay, a of I plus run length, if it is same as the previous value, then I increment it by 1. Let's say that first two values are identical. So when I compare the first value with the second value, they are the same, and therefore the run length now becomes 2. Suppose now if I say that the third value is also identical, the first three values are identical, then the run length is now 2. So if I compare the third element with the first element, and we also still find out that it is equal to the first value, then the run length becomes 3, which means that the first element has repeated 3 times, okay, or in general the ith element has repeated 3 times. And whenever this condition fails, okay, the inner while loop terminates. We check whether the current run length is greater than the mode frequency. If the current new run length is greater than the mode frequency, then we make this run length as the newer mode frequency and the corresponding run value as the mode value. For example, okay, say that so far my mode value is let's say 4, which has been repeated 2 times. So the mode frequency is 2, mode value is 4, mode frequency is 2. At a later point, I find out that the element 5 has a run length of 6. Let's say that 5 is repeated 6 times. Okay, my current mode frequency says that 4 is repeated 2 times. I have found out a newer element 5 which is repeated 6 times. Run length is 6. Run value is 5. Then we update this mode frequency. Okay, we update the mode frequency as 6 and the mode value as 5. And after that, we increment I with the value of run length. I is equal to I plus run length. Once we have reached the end of the loop, when I is no longer less than n, the while loop stops and we return the mode value. Okay, so this is how we can apply pre-sorting to find out the mode of an array of elements. If you look at the algorithm here, it appears that the algorithm consists of nested loops, and you might be misguided to think that the algorithm's efficiency is n square, but which is not the case. Okay, let us look at that shortly. So the running time of the algorithm will be dominated by the time spent on sorting. Okay, the first part says that the transform phase says that sort the array. The remainder of the algorithm takes linear time. This might be a bit confusing. As you can see here, after the sorting part is over in the algorithm, okay, we next look into a while loop which has an inner while loop. So it seems as if this is a quadratic algorithm, but this is not a quadratic algorithm, but rather it is a linear algorithm. Okay, the reason is, if you look at the way I is growing, I is not growing really linearly. Okay, so you don't have I is equal to I plus 1 here. Rather, in the algorithm you have I is equal to I plus run length. Say suppose I am at the second element and then my run length is 4. Okay, and the inner while has stopped, at which point run length is 4. In the next iteration, I am not going to the third element. Rather, from second element, I am directly going on to the sixth element. Run length is 4. So 2 plus 4 is 6. I go on to the sixth element. So that way, I can say that the algorithm, the remainder part of the algorithm after sorting, runs in linear term. Okay. So this is how we can claim that, as said in the second point, the remainder of the algorithm takes linear time. So now if we try to find out the algorithm of this, the efficiency of the overall algorithm, then it is the sum of the two parts. Okay, as we have seen in the earlier cases, T of n is equal to T sort of n, time spent in sorting the array, and T scan of n is the time spent in finding the mode. So if we use an n log n sorting algorithm, then the efficiency, the overall efficiency will be better than the worst case efficiency of the brute force algorithm. Okay, remember in the brute force version, we found out that the time complexity is n square, which is quadratic. But by using pre-sorting, okay, if we say that we had used merge sort algorithm during the sorting phase, then we can say that the time complexity of sorting is n log n, scan part is n, and therefore the overall efficiency is the efficiency of the least efficient part. Among n log n and n log n is least efficient, so overall efficiency is n log n. That way, this efficiency is far better than n square for the brute force algorithm to find out the mode. Okay. The third example that we consider is an already well-known example. Okay, consider the problem of searching for a given value v in a given array of n sortable items. In case of the brute force approach, what we do is we employ sequential search. If I want to find out a key element, among n elements, I just start simply comparing with the first, second, and so on. I proceed till the end, till either I find a match or I have reached the end. Okay. So in case, in the worst case, this brute force searching problem will require n comparisons. This will occur if the element that I am searching for is the last element or it is not present in the array. Okay, in which case I end up making n comparisons. However, if we apply transform and conquer, if the array is sorted first, okay, then we can perform search in a very fast manner, okay, by employing binary search. And as you know, binary search requires only log n to the base 2 plus 1 comparisons in the worst case. Okay, say suppose you have 8 elements, okay, you would not require more than 4 comparisons to find out any element among these 8 elements. Okay, so search becomes faster. And now let's look at the overall efficiency. Okay, so again, if I see the overall efficiency as the efficiency of the two parts, the first part requires sorting, the second part requires searching. In the best possible case, okay, we can perform sorting only in n log n. You can't do a sort anything better than n log n. And search, if since we have employed binary search, takes log n. So if we look at the overall efficiency, okay, and as we have said, the overall efficiency of an algorithm that is executed as part is the efficiency of the part whose efficiency is the worst. So among n log n and log n, we can clearly see that n log n has a higher order of growth, and therefore the overall efficiency of this transform and conquer approach will be n log n. And we found out that the brute force approach's worst case complexity is just n. So in this case, the transform and conquer solution of using pre-sorting is clearly inferior to sequential search. But however, when do we see that this is actually beneficial? So this actually turns out to be beneficial if we are to search the same list repeatedly more than once. In such a case, the time spent on sorting might be justified because we just do this only once. Okay, and from there on, always you could search for a particular element only in logarithmic time. Okay, so this is about the 3 examples on pre-sorting. Okay, so let us stop the topic here. After you have finished watching the 2 topics, tomorrow we will have a question and answer session. Okay, so I'll stop it here.